Governor Jerry Brown's signing coincided with today's National Voter Registration Day. He said his goal is to increase voter turnout. Meanwhile, several other states have established more restrictive voter ID laws. Here with details on California's new voter laws are ACLU voters' rights attorney Lori Shellenberger and Deborah Seiler with San Diego County Registrar of Voters. Thank you both for being here. Lori, first question to you. How is this new California, same-day registration law working, and when does it go into effect?
Well, yesterday the governor signed two significant pieces of legislation that expand opportunities for Californians to register to vote. One is the same-day registration law, which will not go into effect immediately. There's still a voter registration deadline of October 22nd in place for this election, but hopefully by the next presidential election, voters will be able to register and vote in the 2 weeks leading up to and on Election Day.
A lot closer. We'll talk more about that. Deborah, give us a snapshot of voters in San Diego. How many people are eligible and how many have actually registered?
Well, actual registrants is pretty close to 1.5 million voters in San Diego County, and we're the third largest in terms of overall voter registration, and that's about 70% of those who are eligible.
That is higher than the national average, correct?
That is a little bit higher, and we feel very good about that level.
Do those people who register actually turn out to vote? What is that like?
That depends on the election. What we find is that in the November elections, the turnout is always higher than the June primary election, and in a presidential general, it's higher than it is in a gubernatorial general.
So it just kind of depends. Now, Lori, the bill that the governor, some of the bills that he signed aim to expand, as I said, voter registration, but several other states are doing just the opposite. They seem to be somewhat restrictive, saying you can only use certain IDs for documentation. Why are they doing it and how are they doing it?
Well, since 2011 alone, 17 states have passed 24 restrictions on voting, both voter registration, the timing of voting, and voter ID laws. So, for example, there may be limitations on on who can do voter registration, or states that are eliminating early voting, or states requiring government-issued ID in order to vote at the polls. And the concern is that politicians are manipulating our election system in a way that they get to choose who's voting for them, since these laws disproportionately affect certain groups of people.
I'll ask both of you this, but I'll start first with you, Deborah. Recently, we did a report on local poll workers here observing voter fraud. Is that an issue in San Diego?
Well, I don't think that voter fraud per se is an issue in San Diego County. Occasionally, we do have groups that go out and pay folks to register voters, and that is occasionally tempting for some of those circulators to maybe make up a few fictitious names. But they're doing it for the money, and that's voter registration fraud, but not vote fraud. We don't find that it translates into vote fraud.
And what protections, Lori, are in place to make sure voter fraud doesn't happen in the state and across the country?
Right, I think that's the point, is we have lots of protections. First and foremost, it's a felony with a huge fine to commit in-person voter fraud. So we doubt many people would do that for the risk of one vote. But also our election system, we have databases, we have regulations in place that catch anyone who's a duplicate voter, that people who are deceased, who are then removed from the voter rolls. So we have a pretty comprehensive election code that I think Deborah would agree ensures that we're catching that, which is why we don't see those instances of voter fraud.
Let's talk about what's happening right now. Election Day is November 6th. So, Deborah, tell us what some of the other deadlines are here that we need to be aware of.
Well, currently, voters are now receiving their state ballot pamphlet in the mail. So that's going into the mail as we speak. And starting next week, they will start to receive their sample ballot booklets. But as far as deadlines, the first day to actually come into our office to vote is October 8th, and we will be open from 8 till 5 every single day. We'll be open the Saturday before the election, and the close of registration, as Lori pointed out, this new same-day registration bill is not in effect now, so we still do have a close of registration 15 days before the election. That date is October 22nd, and our office will be open until midnight that night for voters who want to come down and register to vote, but forms are also available online. now, and also in libraries, post offices, city clerk offices.
So you can't register online, but you can definitely download the registration form and fill it out.
You can actually register online now. That went into effect last week. That was another exciting development in California. So there is paperless registration where if you have a driver's license or a state-issued ID number, you can register online and be instantly registered.
Instantly. It's just that same day registration is going to be next election.
That's correct.
All right. Lori Shellenberger with ACLU and Deborah Seiler with the San Diego County Registrar of Voters. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
You're welcome.